Item 4, communications from the public. To comply with provisions of the Open Meetings Act, the City Council may not deliberate on items discussed under this agenda item. The council may refer this item to the city manager or direct this item to be placed on the next regular council agenda. PowerPoint presentations are not conducted during the citizen comment period. Out of respect for those speaking during public comment, please refrain from any outbursts or interjections to include, but not limited to, applause and/or disparaging noises from the audience. Doing so discourages others from voicing their thoughts and opinions and disrupts the meeting. I have 2 cards. Gail Lovely.
Just so everybody's aware, you get 3 minutes. I'll give you a yellow card when you have 1 left and a red when your 3 minutes are up.
Good evening.
Good to see you again, Gail.
Thanks. I notice on the agenda you'll be considering adding a Clear Creek drainage and flooding position or person, and I want to encourage you to do so. Additionally, I'd like to remind you that this is a long-term and constancy of purpose is going to be important. So maybe you want to also think about adding a commission or a board that would extend beyond the length of anyone's term of office, because this is a project that will take a long time. That would also allow citizens to know when through agendas and minutes and meetings, what's going on and how things are proceeding. So I'd like to encourage you to consider adding a new board or commission to deal with Clear Creek and flooding, and I congratulate you on thinking about adding a person to really be in charge of that. Thank you.
Thanks, Gail. And Brent Aaronworth. Congratulations, Brent.
As many as you may or may not know, I'm Brent Aaronworth. I'll save talking more next week. I just wanted to take a moment and personally thank a few people throughout this election process. We know how fun y'all have all been through it. These can be really fun and energetic. I want to thank my family for standing by me throughout this process. I want to thank all the voters who came out to support me, as well as the ones that didn't. We keep seeing low voter turnouts in this city, and I think it's important that we keep trying to get these up as our population's growing. We need to see these voter turnouts get up, so I think we need to try to find more ways to keep encouraging people to get out and vote. I want to thank the Galveston County for conducting this election and for y'all pushing that, because I heard so many people talk about just how great and simple that was, and they wish it was that simple all the time, so I think that was a fantastic idea. Lastly, I've accomplished many achievements in my life. This one was just really special to me. As a 30-year resident growing up here, winning a seat up there is going to be truly an honor to sit up there with all of y'all. I'm excited to bring my charisma, vision, business skill set to this city as we prepare ourselves for the future. And like the city mission statement says, that I hope to provide the highest level of service to our citizens at the greatest value as a councilman for Friendswood. And I thank y'all again. I look forward to serving y'all. Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. Deirdre Brown.
Thank you, Council and fellow citizens. I'm here to speak on 2 issues. One is the election and one is drainage, and I think they're somewhat related. I've been a harsh critic of several council members in the past, and Carl Gustafson's no exception from that. I did speak up when he made comments about drainage post-Harvey. He was one of the few to question, and I thought that was very important to keep that issue alive. Councilmember Griffon and Councilmember Hanks helped tremendously on the floodplain map issue, and I appreciated their assistance as well. I want to echo the comments of Ms. Lovely tonight about having a permanent subcommittee or permanent committee, basically led by citizens, working with a council liaison, just like any other committee. I also want to thank Councilmember Gustafson for his service to the city and his family's service to the city. I found this last election to be one of the worst parts of the history of Friendswood. Councilmember Scott and myself went through very dirty campaigns as well. I did not know Councilmember Scott before he campaigned for office, and I spoke up when I saw there was dirty tactics then, just as I spoke up for Councilmember Gustafson this time. I think our city will be sorry to find qualified candidates in the future if families go under attack. And I believe leadership denounces such attacks. And I hope all of you will join with me and those in the community who found those attacks to be beyond reproach. Tonight, Mr. Gustafson, I've said this to you on Saturday when I voted as well, it was challenging for me to decide who to vote for. You're fully familiar with those issues that I had. I want to thank you on behalf of the community and apologize to you and your family on behalf of the community. When people are in vulnerable positions, you can change their life by making attacks, especially with young folks. Miss Welsh and I had a lengthy conversation maybe 8 months ago, and I saw, even when I attack on issues, how sometimes that can hurt folks. I would just encourage everybody to be mindful of that and to speak out against it when you see it, and thank those who do give their time in service. Thank you, Councilman Gustafson.
Thank you. Communications from the public, item 10, to comply with provisions of the Open Meetings Act, the City Council may not deliberate on items discussed under this agenda item. The council may refer this item to the city manager or direct this item to be placed on the next regular council agenda. PowerPoint presentations are not conducted during the citizen comment period. Out of respect for those speaking during public comment, please refrain from any outbursts or interjections to include but not limited to applause and/or disparaging noises from the audience. Doing so discourages others from voicing their thoughts and opinions and disrupts the meeting. John Cole?
For those of you coming up, you have 3 minutes. I'll give you a yellow card when you have 1 minute left and a red when your 3 minutes are up.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I would like to read from the 2017-18 budget. Basically, this refers to the city debt that we're in right now. Right now, we have 228 full-time Friendswood employees who work for the city. Some of the employees' salaries included, but we're not limited to, the city manager, $529,500. Assistant city manager, $166,000. Fire marshal, $186,000. Deputy fire marshal, $164,000. Deputy director of community development, $132,000. Plus administrative assistant, $70,200. Public works director, $189,200. Administrative assistant, $72,300. Building official, $105,200. Senior sign tech, $87,700. Meter reader, $62,006. Director of library services, $139,000 a year. Assistant city director, $89,000. Library clerk, $69,000. Recreation director, $178,000. Assistant director of recreation, $125,300. Recreation manager, $174,300. Parks building superintendent, $113,400. Foreman of the parks, $88,000. For each employee, there's 14 days paid vacation, 14 days paid holiday. In other words, 1 month of paid holidays and vacation per year, and these totals do not include the benefits for each one of the employees. For example, or so in other words, a 12-month salary for 11 months' work for a city whose debt is over $85 million. The budget was $56 million for 2017-18. Approximately 70% of the budget was used on personnel, which equals approximately $39 million. Eliminating one half of the $39 million equals $19,500,000. If this amount is applied to the city debt for 5 years, after 5 years, Friendswood will be a city out of debt and will function from a budget surplus. And lastly, this is directed towards those city council members who called me a liar when I first presented the budget deficit or the city debt of over $80 million. I have the budget from the city website that explains that the salary for the city manager was over $500,000. Thank you.
Whoever that guy was that just left, he made a good point. City administration is well paid, but I was here back in January, and I made comments about the roads in my portion of town from FM 2351 to the city limits. Now, what is really remarkable to me is the way cities, states, counties, and federal agencies block our freedoms continuously for whatever reason. I asked at that time that something be addressed about the repairs to Rustic Lane from FM 2351 to the city limits, Westfield, Clover Ridge, and all those other little streets in that area. I called 2 or 3 people with the city about what was going to happen, who was going to. I even sent the mayor a letter, got a real nice letter, thank you for writing me, et cetera, back. That was good. Our taxpayer money is for these services to maintain our roads, and our roads all the way to the city council, to the city limits are not properly maintained and haven't been maintained. Those pictures that I'm sending around there, those are pictures of Brazoria County and how well they have taken care of the roads that go all the way up to my property line. They did a real good, they've done it 3 times in the last 20 some odd years. City of Friendswood has not. Our taxpayer money pays for the services. We still haven't gotten it. And I'm not sure if there's any pictures of Rustic Lane specifically, but after every rain, you can take pictures of it, and there's puddles in the middle of the road. Lousy maintenance by the city. Again, taxes is paid, and I just paid them. Okay. And last, but how much time? About a minute? Okay. I also made it a point to talk about the no right turn at FM 2351 and onto Sunset Drive. Well, that's been modified. It was just modified not too long ago. I wonder if y'all knew that I was going to come and talk about it. And last, I want to reiterate again, the Christmas lights that I saw on this building and other buildings that belong to Friendswood, those Christmas lights were beautiful. But the Christmas lights celebrate a religious event. This is not a religion. This is a political entity. Thank you.
I just wanted to speak on drainage again. I had forgot to mention before that I have reached out to some of you about better communications with Harris County and better teamwork with Harris County. I think it is important to perhaps, do an invite with a Friendswood Day where we invite our elected officials from Harris County as well as Galveston County, but in particular with a new county judge and Commissioner Ellis not really hearing from our elected officials much. They've obviously heard from us at the grassroots level. But I am now getting direct communications from Commissioner Ellis saying, please go ahead and promote this. So that shows me there's kind of a disconnect at the city level as well, and I'd really appreciate if somebody, perhaps the mayor would be the best person, reach out to the county judge and Commissioner Ellis and invite them for a drive around town, just like we do with a broker day tour. Let them tour the town. I know I came down through Blackhawk today and saw his parks that he controls, and we also have Frankie Carter. There's definitely interest in this area. We just, I think, need to let them know after decades of not communicating with Harris County that we need their attention too. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here to address you in regards to an aspect of our community that might need your attention at your next retreat, and that is my request. This would be in terms of our code enforcement, that meeting with staff this past couple of months, we find some lacking language perhaps that would help us all strengthen the jobs that the employees do for us in their jobs every day. I met with Morad and Ms. Fisher and I forget who else, and Melinda, in regards to the efforts that are already made to enforce the sign ordinance, but we need some teeth in the language and we need some tools given to the code enforcement officer to do these particular jobs. It's not pleasant, I know that, but if we're going to spend $67,000 for Keep Friendswood Beautiful, I think we need to continue to do it in all aspects of what exists in our community today. I give you a note, there are 183 days, that's 3 days more than 6 months, before a candidate can place another sign in our city for the required 90 days of the state election, which will be the primary March 3rd. So I would ask in that retreat that we do address it. I'd be happy to help you with any of the aspects that need strengthening, that support staff. Melinda already says how much she does in regards to it, but she could use some help as she works through with the candidates. One of the language requirements that we have gives a cloud about if a sign is found to be illegal, that we give 10 days for its removal. But yet, in the sign ordinance, the day after the election, all the signs have to be removed in 24 hours. So that was one recommendation that we found that could possibly be utilized to make the adherence to the ordinance be a little bit quicker. I did note in our budget that we allocate 500 cases in sign enforcement department. I can't tell you what the budget is for that because it's mixed in with inspections, so perhaps Morad could let us know that. But that's an expectation of complaints to that department. That seems like a lot. Perhaps we could start to become proactive and more enforcement-oriented rather than reactive and be just a complaint department. I know that as adults, if we're fined, we tend to take something a little bit more seriously. That's my address to you tonight, and thank you.